From someone playing a first-person shooter entirely with their brain to the highest resolution brain model ever recorded, 2024 has been a pretty insane year for advancing our understanding of the brain. In this video, I'm going to break down 7 of the most insane neuroscience breakthroughs that happened in 2024 but you might have missed. But these are not going to be just abstract discoveries that bear no significance to your life. The 7th one on this list, I bet, will directly influence both me and you this year. If you're new to the channel, my name is Evan. I'm a past neuroscience student from Trinity College Dublin. I'm a wannabe triathlete and host of the Giant Shoulder Neuroscience podcast, where I speak to the brightest and the best neuroscientists in the world every single week. It's my job to keep up to date with all of the biggest brain-related discoveries so that you don't have to. This tiny cube of human brain, measuring just 1 millimeter in length, height, and width, contains 57,000 neurons, 150 million synapses. Capturing and analyzing this minuscule masterpiece required a mind-blowing 1.4 petabytes of data, roughly equivalent to 1,000 terabytes or 1,000,000 gigabytes. It's the highest resolution brain model ever recorded. This is the world of connectomics, a field dedicated to mapping the brain's intricate web of connections. But the field has had a huge problem for the last 50 years. The human brain has 86 billion neurons. Mapping every single one of them with today's technology would require exabytes of data. It's safe to say that we are just not there yet. So instead, the approach in connectomics has been to tackle smaller creatures, worms, flies, and eventually build up to human brains. Let's rewind back to 1992, when scientists first mapped the connectome of the humble nematode C. elegans. This tiny worm consists of only 302 neurons. That's gotta be easy, right? Not even close. It took a painstaking 10 years of literally hand-sketching worm brain to be able to model the basic nematode. Neuroscientists are so underappreciated. Next time you complain about work, think about sketching worm brain for 10 years. The result was scientifically groundbreaking but pretty underwhelming. It took a decade to map a creature with the cognitive ability of, well, a worm, because it was a worm. Unsurprisingly, the field pretty much ground to a halt for the next 20 years. Fast forward to 2023, and that's when the first baby fruit fly was completely mapped. But finally, May 10th, 2024, and scientists revealed the highest resolution brain model ever recorded. Finally, we weren't looking at worms or flies. This was human brain. We were peeking inside the crown jewel of evolution, the most complicated system ever devised. So did we learn anything? It turns out yes, we actually did. Among the neurons mapped in the human brain segment, researchers found a brand new type of directionally oriented neurons buried deep in the brain. It's hypothesized that these neurons could be involved in navigation or orientation like a GPS. We already know about hippocampal grid cells and place cells that help us orient ourselves in our world, but these could go even further than that, potentially tying sensory information to our sense of direction. Finding new brain structures and regions is like discovering a new continent. There's just so much potential for future scientific discovery. Psychedelics like psilocybin and LSD are known for their profound ability to shift our perception of self, time, and space. But their potential for our current mental health epidemic has been stealing all of the headlines in the last couple of years. High doses of psilocybin, the psychoactive compound found in magic mushrooms, have shown long-lasting symptom relief for depression, PTSD, addiction, and end-of-life anxiety in clinical trials. But despite their seemingly massive therapeutic potential, the exact mechanism of what psychedelics were doing in the brain has remained pretty elusive. A groundbreaking study published in 2024 in Nature, titled "Psilocybin Desynchronizes the Human Brain," might have actually for the first time unlocked key insights into what these psychedelics are actually doing on a neural level. The team used thousands of fMRI snapshots to create detailed brain videos. Psilocybin caused a 300% increase in functional brain connectivity when compared to the control, with the most profound effects being in the default mode network. You probably didn't know that the brain had a default setting. It's what's active when you're just sitting about, daydreaming, thinking about your life. In the past, disruptions to this network have been linked to the possible therapeutic effects of psychedelics, like breaking the persistent negative thought loops that creep up when you're disconnected from the world. The study also found that connectivity between the default mode network and the anterior hippocampus was disrupted. These are regions, again, in the past where chatter between them has been linked to depressive symptoms. This may explain for the first time why psychedelics like psilocybin are so effective at treating depression. They break up the chatter between these two key brain regions. The study's title refers to psilocybin's ability to desynchronize neural populations. What does that even mean? Well, neurons usually work together in synchrony like an orchestra to create our conscious experience. Psilocybin disrupts this harmony, which is fundamentally what leads to the massive changes in perception and consciousness. But here's where the dots start to connect and where it gets interesting. The neural desynchronization, that breaking up of the orchestra, also triggers homeostatic plasticity mechanisms. It makes the brain more able to change and mold. It upregulates genes like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This is why some people doing psychedelic therapy might be able to break out of those long, consistent, negative thought loops that have attacked them for so long. In fact, this study proved it. 21 days after administration of psilocybin, you could still see a persistent disruption between the default mode network and the anterior hippocampus. This is precisely what you would be looking for as a researcher trying to find mental health treatments. I had the pleasure of talking to the legendary Christoph Koch, who has spent 30 years studying consciousness, on the Giant Shoulder podcast, and we each share some of our unique psychedelic experiences, and his were absolutely crazy. I couldn't believe how much he opened up about his experience in the Brazilian rainforests with shamans. It was nuts. And sharing my experiences was something I definitely didn't plan on doing either, but I'm really glad I did. It was a great conversation, so go check it out after this episode. Ozempic, Wegovy, GLP-1 agonists, and semaglutides. These names have been thrown around in 2024 like crazy, as these drugs have become the go-to solution for weight loss. But let's zoom out for a second. While everyone's been talking about how Ozempic suppresses and melts body fat, neuroscientists have been asking a much nerdier but much more interesting question, like, why does it actually work so well? Ozempic wasn't supposed to be a weight loss drug. It was designed for type 2 diabetics. It was designed to treat diabetes by mimicking the effects of a hormone called GLP-1, which help regulates blood sugar. But then something happened that surprised everyone. People started losing weight, and a lot of weight. Suddenly, scientists and pharmaceutical companies started to scramble as they realized they might have accidentally stumbled upon the cure to the global obesity crisis. The appetite suppression was undeniable, but no one could pinpoint the exact mechanism by which Ozempic was working. It was a surprise to literally everybody. Here's where Laval University comes in with their groundbreaking study on the arcuate nucleus of the hypothalamus. There's specific neurons in this brain area that are basically deciding if you're going to take that extra piece of chocolate or you're going to close the fridge. And those neurons are constantly in battle with each other. This was known before, but what this study found was a completely brand new type of neurons that were expressing a new type of protein, something that no one had ever discovered before, called CRAB-P1. What makes these neurons particularly exciting is not just that they're new, but they respond to not just GLP-1 but also leptin. Leptin is the hormone that we've known for a while controls appetite. It's secreted by your fat cells and basically screams to your body saying that you don't need to eat, you're full. And lots of appetite suppressing drugs have tried to target this hormone in the past. It's like tricking your brain into thinking you're full when your stomach isn't. So why should you really care? Well, it shows that Ozempic isn't just suppressing appetite, but it's actually rewiring your brain's hunger circuits. That's something way more important and way more fundamental. This gives researchers a clear target for future drugs. What if we could create treatments that was able to zero in on these hunger circuits without all of the horrible side effects that Ozempic has been known to have? For me, my goals this year is not to lose weight. It is to grow this YouTube channel, become a better triathlete, and to sleep better. And Magic Mind is helping me do just that. Magic Mind is an evidence-based productivity shot packed with research-backed ingredients at doses which have been proven to have beneficial effects on sleep, stress, and focus. Take ashwagandha, for example. In this blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial, which is the gold standard for proving efficacy, anxiety was reduced, serum cortisol levels were reduced, and sleep quality was improved. I'm a very skeptical person by nature, as you may have seen on this channel, but I was genuinely very surprised with how good I felt taking a shot of Magic Mind after my lunch in replacement of my second cup of coffee. My anecdotal experience being really strong, alongside the research-backed ingredients contained in these shots, gives me the confidence to partner with Magic Mind. Additionally, they donate 5 cents to mental health charities around the world for every single bottle sold, and they offer 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked, if you're not completely satisfied with your experience with Magic Mind. So you have literally nothing to lose in trying it out. Use my link in the first line of the description to check out Magic Mind and to support the channel. While we are on connectomics, it would be remiss of me not to mention that 2024, only 1 year after the first baby fruit fly brain was mapped, the full adult fruit fly was fully mapped. Again, this is a 50-year endeavor, and mapping an entire brain has very important implications. Imagine following the equivalent of a neuronal relay race, from a fly's photoreceptors detecting the light to neurons triggering wing movements. If the connectome is the ultimate blueprint for understanding the brain, then this fruit fly is the most comprehensive one that we have seen to date. This is a foundational step to understanding brains at any level, and considering the astounding rate of progress in the last 2 years, who's to know what comes down the pipeline in the next 5? January 30th, just as 2024 is kicking off, Neuralink announces its first ever implant in a human subject. A computer basically the size of a €2 coin implanted under the skull of a man named Nolan Arbaugh. Nolan was left paralysed from the neck down after a swimming accident when he was only 24. So how does Neuralink actually work? When you think about moving a limb, the motor cortex generates a neural signal, which typically travels down pathways to activate muscles. For people with spinal injuries, that pathway is broken. Neuralink's implant bypasses this signal by eavesdropping on these motor signals, transmitting them wirelessly to an app that controls devices, like mobile phones or computers. Neural implants are not new. Their history dates back decades. In 2008, a monkey was first able to control a very basic robotic arm. Only 4 years later, in 2012, a woman with paralysis was able to operate a much more complicated robotic arm. And by 2017, another used their brain to type words. However, the bandwidth of these systems was very limited, as they relied on only a few hundred wired electrodes. In 2021, Neuralink debuted their implant in Gertrude the pig, showing it could detect neural activity with astounding accuracy. In 2022, a macaque demonstrated its potential by playing Pong, using only its mind. These experiments existed to calibrate the system to interpret neural signals. This is what paved the way for human clinical trials. And ultimately, this is what led Nolan Arbaugh to, at the age of 30, 6 years after his accident, having a chunk of his skull removed and hair-thin electrodes implanted into his brain. But it was not smooth sailing. The Neuralink chip needed to learn how to interpret Nolan's motor commands and then transduce that signal into an electrical one that could control a computer or a mobile phone. This meant he was working around the clock with a team of engineers. And this wasn't even the emergency. Only a few weeks after the surgery, 85% of the threads had fallen loose from their original positions within the brain. This setback became very public, alongside Nolan's reduction in the control of his devices. He went from being able to beat his stepfather at Mario Kart to barely being able to control the cursor on the screen. It seemed that the first Neuralink human implant had failed, but Nolan never gave up hope. He said, "I just want to bring everyone along this journey with me. I want to show everyone how amazing this has been, and it's just been so rewarding. So I'm really excited to keep going." 8 months after the first implant surgery, and Nolan is opening for a speed chess competition in Paris. Astounding. For the second Neuralink patient, Alex, the team were able to make improvements so that the same problem that happened with Nolan didn't happen again. And Alex is the patient that can be seen playing Counter-Strike 2, a very complicated first-person shooter game with a mouth-operated joystick aiming entirely with his mind, with Neuralink's chip sending signals to the computer. Again, astounding. For decades, the protein folding problem was the Mount Everest of biology. Scientists knew the sequence of amino acids that make up a protein, but predicting how this string would twist and fold into its three-dimensional structure, a shape that determines its function, was maddeningly complex. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Proteins are incredibly cool. They're little molecular machines driving everything from muscle contraction to immune response. Misfold a protein and you get diseases like Alzheimer's or cystic fibrosis. Master protein folding and you hold the keys to designing life-saving drugs and synthetic materials. But for half a century, the problem seemed to be intractable. There are more ways for a protein to fold than there are atoms in the universe. This is where Demis Hassabis and John Jumper come in. Hassabis is the co-founder of DeepMind, who made waves originally with AlphaGo, a deep learning model that beat world champions at the ancient and stupidly complex Chinese board game Go. This documentary is genuinely really cool. If you haven't seen it already, I'll link it below. At its core, a deep learning model is a neural network, a computer system inspired by the human brain that learns patterns from massive amounts of data. For proteins, the data came from hard-earned decades of research, millions of experimentally determined protein structures. The team trained their neural networks on this treasure trove of data, teaching the AI to predict how a protein's amino acid sequence dictated its final form. They were also able to use a neat trick called inductive bias to basically encode evolutionary rules within the learning model, and it learned really well. Their first success, AlphaFold 2, shocked the scientific world in 2020 by outperforming human experts at a prestigious protein folding competition. Scientists could now predict structures with astonishing accuracy. This was a true paradigm shift. To lay some context here, it was completely normal for a PhD student to dedicate 4 years of their life to deciphering the structure of only one protein, and this was considered a very successful PhD. AlphaFold 2's success was monumental, but it wasn't without its flaws. Certain protein structures remained elusive, and edge cases challenged its predictions. That's where AlphaFold 3 came in, which massively outperformed its predecessor. It was also successful in tackling all of the unsolvable protein configurations that AlphaFold 2 had left it. The leap from AlphaFold 2 was like upgrading the telescope that your uncle bought you for Christmas for the James Webb Space Telescope. Suddenly, researchers weren't just predicting static protein shapes. They could model dynamic movements, protein-protein interactions, and even very complex protein assemblies, multiple proteins coming together to form this even larger, more complex structure. So maybe you're not folding proteins in your spare time, so you might be wondering why and how this impacts your life directly. But AlphaFold's breakthroughs touch every aspect of modern life, and predictions are that in 2025 it could touch everybody. Its accuracy has already accelerated the hunt for vaccines. It's helping biologists design enzymes that can break down plastic pollution or even create carbon-neutral biofuels. And here's where things get really weird. David Baker, the third winner of the Nobel Prize alongside Demis Hassabis and John Jumper, and his lab at the University of Washington, is combining AlphaFold's predictions with artificial protein design. Yes, proteins that have never existed in nature. This completely blows the roof off previous constraints. I mean, anything is possible. What if we could program proteins like their software? These are incredibly sophisticated, tiny molecular machines that can interact in organic systems. For the first time ever, their prize was not just for simply uncovering the secrets of nature, but possibly rewriting them completely. The implications really are staggering. If you don't want to miss out on more breathtaking neuroscience, then subscribe to the Giant Shoulder channel and check out my podcast episode with the legendary Christoph Koch. You will not be disappointed. Thank you so much.